Have you ever heard this phrase from a French princess? When she was told that the peasants don't have a bread, she said, let them eat brioches. Well, I kind of feel like that when I hear some productivity advice. For many of us, these tips and tricks are not usable because they're heavily relying on the assumption that we can decide what do we do at work and when. And we can easily slow down when we just feel that we need it. And it often comes from people with money, time, and freedom to choose what you do and when. But the reality is, the majority of us don't have this luxury. We work in the usual 9-to-5 jobs where we don't define our tasks. We can very limitedly prioritize what we do, and usually there is someone who is doing this for us. We cannot take it slow and just do the task another day when we feel more like it. And in some cases, we cannot even decide when to take a break. So in this video, I will share with you my best productivity advice for situations like that, when you just don't have that much of a flexibility in your work. First, here's my personal observation from the times when I used to work on a very restricting and non-autonomic kind of job. Usually, the only option that you have is to do a very small task switches, not what you do today or tomorrow or even after lunch, but rather, do I make this call right now or 10 minutes later and do something else instead? So that's the scale. So the first two tips that I will tell you will cover two different approaches to these small task combinations. You can use the one that suits your work the most or combine them. The first one is task pairing. If you have a chance, we can pair one troublesome thing with another one that is easier. If you, for example, need to make a call to someone you don't like, or maybe you don't like to talk people by phone in general, you can do it first and pair with something that is less irritating, like a focused data entry task to calm the nerves. Basically, categorize even small things that you do during your working time into the ones that you can or cannot use as a reward, and pair them to give yourself a little bit more motivation and to make progress on these less enjoyable tasks by associating them with nicer ones. Another way to go about this is to batch your tasks. I don't know about you, but I know for myself that my mind has sort of an inertia. So basically, when I started to do a certain thing of one sort, of one nature, for example, I do a focused work with numbers, it takes time and effort for me to switch to something else. If you think that you're also like that and you have multiple of tasks of a similar nature, try to group them together and tackle them in one go. This minimizes the mental effort that you need to switch between different types of tasks, making you more motivated and making you more productive. And even if they are small, it still matters. For example, right now I have a job with a relatively high level of autonomy, but I still notice how damaging it is when I am distracted by small things of a different nature that shifts me from one mental state to another. So if with this technique you would be able to decrease these mental switches from, I don't know, once in 10 minutes to once in 20 minutes, this will already be a very good impact on your work. If you ask me, I usually do a second one, the task batching. One of my first jobs was actually a technical support engineer, so I had to receive the calls and remotely connect to other people's laptops to solve issues. And I remember that I actually agreed with another person in my shifts that in the morning she takes more calls, and I use this a little bit calmer time to work on the documentation because I'm usually more focused and productive in the morning. The next tip is what I would call a personalized breaks. If you cannot set your own breaks on the go during the day when you feel like it, one thing that you can do is to plan it ahead based on your body rhythms and natural energy fluctuations. Observe the times when you are usually more productive. Is it early in the morning? Is it when you reached the office and had your first cup of coffee? Or maybe right before the lunch when you finally woken up. Maybe there is something you can do because you know that in advance. It It can be anything from going to the lunch later to save a more high productivity time, to organizing an earlier shifts, or explicitly asking your manager to give you a certain type of tasks that are the hardest for you when you are more productive and you actually have a chance to do it better. Also, of course, don't forget to use your breaks wisely, meaning step away from your desk, stretch a little bit, and re-energize in a way that works for you. The next one is to stay organized creatively. If you are in a situation where you have less control on what should you do, you usually have some control on how you do it. For example, you can use different organizing tools that you like and that help you. It can be the task planners, planner apps in your phone, or a physical planner to keep track of your tasks and deadlines. First, with things like that, you have a clear overview of the things that should be done. Even if you cannot prioritize your tasks, having this overview on everything that should be done already helps you to be more organized and reduces the chance that you will miss the deadlines. But even more than that, it will help you to keep your motivational level and even increase it. Imagine a cashier person that serves a line of people. Cashier. A person in a cashier desk in a grocery store. Depending on if cashier sees the end of the line, his or her motivation will be very different. If the end of the line is visible, the motivation is higher, and it's even higher the closer the last person in the line is. And if the line is so long that the end of it is not even visible, we feel, why bother being motivated and do an extra effort? It happens because of what is called a goal gradient effect, a concept that suggests that people tend to increase their motivation and effort as they approach a completion of a task or a goal. So, if you keep track of your tasks in the right way, it can even give you a motivational boost when you approach the end of the list without you changing anything about the task itself. Finally, keep your place organized. If you organize your workplace well, in a way that is comfortable for you, it can actually relieve a certain level of stress. And not because some people are anxious because things around them are not clean. Having your working desk organized the way you want it, with things that you picked yourself, increases a feeling of perceived control. You feel that you did it yourself. This is your comfort zone. I actually believe that increased perceived control is much more important than just the fact that the working place around you is more pleasant to your eye. Because we create for ourselves a small space where we feel safe. And this is incredibly important. Let me know if you found any of these tips useful, and I really hope it will support you with your work productivity. Good luck!